Yo guys, what's good? Welcome back on the Uncle Shama channel. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing very, very well. Thank you for joining me on this Friday evening stream for me here in the UK, previewing tomorrow's game against Monza away at Monza, which is actually the shortest. Well, obviously with Inter and Milan, of course, we share a stadium, so technically the shortest away trip is the one at the San Siro. But this is this year's shortest away trip to Monza, and I'll show you why that is. Literally on Google Maps, from if you go from San Siro to Monza is just a 30-kilometer drive, so just a 30-minute drive. So barely an away trip for Inter tomorrow. Even closer than Atalanta, Bergamo, which is just over there. Cremonese is another one that's kind of close this year. Where's Cremonese? Somewhere. Yeah, there, Cremona's there. And obviously Turin is not that far, but this one is really, really a local away trip. And yeah, hope you guys are doing well. Good evening to you, Nicola. Thank you for coming through. It's a Christmas Eve for, I believe, Serbians. I think Orthodox Christians, I believe your Christmas is on the 7th of January, if I'm correct. So yeah, hope you have a nice Christmas Eve and a nice Christmas tomorrow, Nicola, and every other Serbian in the chat, which is, of course, is the Serbian Mafia, which consists of Mattia and Nicola mainly, but I know there's a few other Serbians and other Balkans in the chat as well. So if you guys celebrate Christmas tomorrow, wishing you well. Horace Bastoni, what's up, brother? Hope you are doing well. Bruce Wayne, thank you for coming through. Exhaust, hey man, hope you're doing well. Sean Collins, what's up, brother? Hope you're doing well. Always see you on Twitter. And yes, thank you, Mattia, for reminding the people to leave that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And yeah, that is the whole vibe, Mighty Mal. That is the whole vibe. We continue this W streak that we have going on at the moment. Hey, Ahmad, my bro, always coming through. Nothing better than a drink and Uncle Shama live on the Friday night. I like the sound of that. I'm sure there's better things you could be doing whilst you're having the drink than listening to me rambling about Inter, but appreciate the nice words. Hey, Matteo in the house as well. How you are doing? And before we get started, I did want to cover off this, of course, as well. Harry, who mentioned it at the beginning. Very sad news about Gianluca Vialli. If you guys don't know, legend of Sampdoria, unfortunately of Juve as well, Chelsea legend, who today passed away after his long battle with pancreatic cancer, I believe it was, which got him. And you see on days like this, you know, that when you see such outpouring of support and good messages, and you know, you just know that this person was a good person when it's such a widespread shock, and you know, just you know, wishes of farewell to him. And yeah, if you guys don't know, obviously I I support the Italian national team. I grew up in Italy. I still feel, even though I've been living in England now for over about 16, 70 years, I've been living in England, I just don't feel that affiliation with the England national team. I still have a very strong connection with the Italian national team. And you know, when Italy won the Euros this past summer, Vialli was, you know, one of the big reasons. You know, him and Mancini in the behind the scenes, what they did. Those two grew up, or you know, Sampdoria, like these guys were very good friends. He was part of the backroom staff with Italy. You know, top striker back in his days in Serie A and in Premier League. One of the few Italians that really broke, you know, the Premier League, Italians in the Premier League jinx. You know, not a lot of Italians go out there and thrive, but he was one of the few. And as you see all these messages on Twitter from different clubs, different people. Chelsea, of course, Sampdoria is obviously the big one. But yeah, just wanted to give my you know, wishing, you know, my thoughts are with his family and his friends. You know, we lost Selin Mihailovic recently as well. Roberto Mancini was close to both of them, so I'm sure he's going through a tough time. I saw today Conte's cancelled his press conference he was supposed to do with Spurs. So yeah, you know, big loss in the world of calcio. Yeah, so starting off on a somber, negative note, but some of these things sometimes need to be talked about. And rest in peace, Gianluca Vialli. Anyway, let me see who else is in the house. Thank you, King Darian. Good to see you in the house as well. 28 people, guys. Make sure you're leaving a thumbs up. Hey, we've got Snudgets. The Twitter legend himself, of course, the meme lord of Twitter. Already seen some reports that Gagliardini must start. Oh my goodness. Don't start, man. Don't start. Where did you see this report, man? Where did you see this report? It needs to be sued, whoever that is, because I haven't seen that myself. And the predicted lineups that I'm going to pull up in the moment, I'm sure they don't have. Yeah, I don't see Gagliardini there. So I don't know if you come in just to troll me and ruin my day, but I hope you are completely wrong on that one. Besisa's father supports Sampdoria and he was heartbroken today. Yeah, if you're a Sampdoria fan, he was massive for them. He was big legend. Him and Mancini led them to the Scudetto back in the 90s. So I'm sure Sampdoria Napoli next tomorrow when Sampdoria Napoli is it tomorrow or is it on Sunday? So Sampdoria Napoli is Sunday. So I'm sure there's going to be something happening quite big, or should be, for Sampdoria. They're in a bit of a messy situation, like ownership-wise. They're very broke. They're actually, if you guys actually don't know, Sampdoria, the company that's loaned us money, Oak Tree, Sampdoria have also recently taken out a loan from Oak Tree because they need it. They're going through some big ownership troubles at the moment as well. But hopefully they get their acts together to do a nice tribute for Vialli on Sunday, and that is going to be an emotional one for sure. And I think Bologna as well, because Bologna's last game was away to Roma. So I'm sure there's going to be some form of tribute for Sinisa Mihailovic over there as well. And they weren't able to get a win, but Sampdoria got their first win, not first win, but it's only their second win against Sassuolo the other time. So hopefully they can get a win. And Sampdoria is one of those teams that even without this, thing happening, it's just one of those teams that you kind of just can't dislike. They've always had some interesting, nice players over the years. So it's hard to dislike a team like Sampdoria for sure. So I hope they can get a result at least. I hope they don't get beaten by Napoli. And that will definitely open the title race back up for everyone else. If I'm late and the first thing I see is Gagliardini starts. No, I think that's just Snod just trying to troll us. I hope he's completely wrong on that one. Gagliardini's on the bench. Nah, he won't be. He'll be on the bench. He'll be unless he's injured. I haven't seen any reports. Oh, brother Ahmad, what a topic you've chosen. You guys are picking all the painful topics to talk about right now, aren't you? Gagliardini and now Tuku fought Correa. That guy, I don't know, man. You guys know, I've tried to give him some faith. You guys know, I've been given the tag of tweeted this earlier, which is the most accurate running style. He actually runs like that, Correa. This isn't even a meme or a joke. He actually physically runs like that, like a ballerina. But I think he's done. I said it since the See if you guys remember the Bayern Munich game, guys. Do you remember that miss he had at home when we lost 2-0 to Bayern Munich? He came on, and then I can't remember, it was Lucas Hernandez or someone made a massive mistake, passed it straight to him, and he was 1v1 against Neuer, and he just dragged this shot wide, Darwin Nunez style. And I said that moment, then San Siro started booing him from that moment as well, quite rightly. I think that was the moment. If there was any hope, that moment just killed it. He was done. He was that moment against Bayern Munich. His head went down. His body language was all kinds of wrong, and the fan base just, we have a very fickle fan base in general. But when it comes to Correa, he has to give us something, brother. When you come on, give us something. Eric's there's lots of players have gone through over the years, even We've talked about it. Esteban Cambiasso was booed by our fan base. Dumfries last season was booed sometimes at the beginning by our fan bases. We have a fickle fan base. Correa last season, actually, if you guys remember the Udinese game when he scored 2 goals, he was being booed already. Like at the beginning of the second half, you could see everyone was getting frustrated, and then he like scored 2 goals out of nothing. If you play for Inter, you need a different type of, like, you have to be able to take those boos, the pressure. It's just different at Inter. This is, you know, he's just not an Inter level player. Unfortunately, he's a Lazio level, Sevilla level. He's just not good enough for Inter. I think he's done. I think he's done for at Inter, unfortunately. Or fortunately, it's just, but the issue is, like, he needs to allow, like, Inter clearly can't, or no one wants to offer money for him. He needs to put pressure on his agent. Like, it's best for him now to get out of Inter. Like, there is nothing to be gained from him to stay at Inter now, because the fan base isn't behind him. He's not getting any support. Inzaghi is trying to support him. Like the other day, they asked him, like, oh, you finally have, you know, 3 strikers to rotate now, like Dzeko, Lukaku, Lautaro. How do you feel? And then he snuck in, like, oh yeah, don't forget Correa. You know, yeah, for Correa, he helped us when he had a little injury and missed the World Cup because of us. You know, he tried to give him that little credit there, tried to sneak him in, but yeah, but that's Inzaghi. You never see him say anything negative. You can't say, oh, it's just because it's his bum boy, his favorite Correa. Like, he does that with everyone. But I think he needs to put pressure on his agent. Find me a club, find me a team, go back to, you know, his level, a team that's, you know, challenging for, you know, top 6, or, you know, like a top 10 team somewhere. Spain, Italy, wherever he can find a team, France. Ideally, it would be an EPL team, because those are the teams that would be able to actually give us some money, ideally. But yeah, he's done. He's done at Inter. I've lost the little faith that I had. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I can give faith to someone, but if the player is just not showing the minimum of, like, effort, and somehow we found the one Argentinian in this world without Grinta, like, we managed to find the Argentinian out there that has no, like, grinta, no, like, fight, and just, like, life in him. So yeah, of course, like, the mistake of spending that much as well. Like, even though I liked him, even at the time, I was like, 31 million, guys. That is way too much money. That is way too much money. And then it weighs even more. So we're struggling so much financially. Mistakes like that weigh even more. Like 31 million to us is like 60 million in reality to Inter, because, like, we're in such financial difficulty. Him and Gosens, as I was talking about my live stream earlier, I saw the actual figures that are in Inter's financial statement are higher than I actually thought, because Gosens is like 27.5 million, because we thought it was like 25 were reported, and then Correa is like 33 with, you know, the initial loan plus the obligation, blah blah blah. So, you know, both of them together, like, you're talking about, you know, 60 million, and that is, and then both of them are not starters, so you're talking about big financial issues for both of them. But yeah, hopefully we can resolve that situation, but it's looking very, very unlikely. Forever Correa. I can never get rid of that tag now, unfortunately. It's the Nima. My lawyers will be in touch with you. It's because of Nima on Twitter that I had that tag, but it is what it is. And yeah, no, that's the thing. Even last year, at least he was, even though the goals and assist numbers weren't backing him up, and, you know, there was, you know, we talked about, if you're objective, you saw there was a streak. We went, was it 2 or 3 months where we went, like, November, December, January, or, like, you know, there was a real streak of Inter when unbeaten, went on, like, winning streaks, and he was starting, and you could see that Inter, when he was playing, Inter were playing better. Like, he was in between the lines, he made Inter smoother. But, you know, the numbers, he wasn't adding those goals and assists that he needed, but he just needed to, like, get to that next level. But this season he's offering nothing. He scored 3 goals, I think, in, like, like he's got some weirdly he's got some like again this season. If you look at like minutes per goals, he's got he's frauding his way to this top of this list here. But that is just because he's been stat padding some goals at the end of games, like the Sampdoria goal he got, the Cremonese goal he got, and then there's one more somewhere he's stat padded a goal. But that is just because he doesn't have that many minutes, and he's just stat padded those goals, and shots on target per night. Like he's just these like numbers that are just he's just topping them just because he's like getting these goals at the end of matches or getting these shots at the end of matches, but they're not reflective of the truth. So yeah, this season he's adding nothing, and yeah, he's a problem. He's a big problem. Tuchel only helps for the growth of Inter women supporters. Yeah, maybe that's one thing he's doing. That's the one positive things he adds. Yeah, 100%. He's just at the moment one of those like Jean Mario, Dalbert, Lazaro, like just one of those like unsellable players that it looks like we're not going to get anything out of him. Yeah, Daniel, you're not that late. We've only been going for like 15 minutes, and yeah, I talked about how short of a trip Monza is. It's literally half an hour up the road from San Siro. Yeah, exactly, King Darian. That is like, we need something. Like, give us something, brother. Like, he's giving us nothing at the moment. Nothing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we just need one of these financially irresponsible Premier League teams to come through. No, the game man's unfortunately nothing. Nothing to report on the sale. I think, as usual, Zhang and family are asking for too much money. No one wants to touch us, as far as I know. But I hope to see something in the coming months, hopefully. And yeah, that's the thing as well with the Correa. We've talked about it so many times. You could understand if this guy was young, and you could understand like, okay, he needs to get used to European football, Serie A, everything. But he's got all of those excuses don't work with him because he's not young. He's Serie A seasoned. Like he played at Sampdoria as well. Like he had a stint before he went to Sevilla. He was at Sampdoria for a little bit. I think he played with Eto, Cassano. He was at that weird time at Sampdoria. So yeah, he's got Serie A experience. He's not young. He's been around, Europe as well. He's played with Inzaghi. Like how many he's got like, and none of these. He doesn't have any of these excuses. Yeah, well, I don't know about a nutritionist. Just the barbecue, man. He's just the Azado guy. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like last season, we could actually say like how many times we in the same type of videos that we're doing right now, preview videos, we talked so many times like, oh, Inzaghi should start Correa over Dzeko because we see how Dzeko was dropping off, and especially in the second half of last season after we used him up, Dzeko, his legs were gone. We were like, play Correa more. We see what he adds to this team, the interplay better. So we could say that. Now it's like, no, anyone but Correa. Yeah, play Carboni, play Darmian out of position, like put anyone but Correa. Like that's like how bad it's got right now. And I completely agree. I'd rather see a youngster like Carboni who's got at least some hunger, something to show, that he can bring on at least. Hey, there you go. If you want, those per 90 stats, you can use them. Hey, if there's one stat you want to use, if you want to be really shameless, you could say that Correa has the same league goals as Tammy Abraham this season, and that is a fact, by the way. If you really want to be shameless, Sean, if you want to trigger some Roma fans, you can use that stat. It's not come from me though. It wasn't me. We need to sign a centre back. We need to sign it qualitatively, not numerically. Again, numerically we're fine this year, like in every position. It's just that as soon as obviously you get an injury, we're one short up front. As soon as Correa gets injured, or as soon as we get a midfielder injury, it starts to get a little bit thinner. But we've got De Vrij, Acerbi for the central position. We got Bastoni plus Di Marco / Acerbi as well for the left centre back position. Then we got Skriniar, D'Ambrosio plus Darmian maybe for that right centre back. So it's like we've got a few guys that are kind of adaptable. So numerically we're fine, but yeah, qualitatively we need to upgrade on De Vrij and Acerbi, for sure. Tuku, as we mentioned before, full-time model, part-time footballer, exactly. That is the perfect way to describe him. Is it realistic to say if Sang doesn't sell this year, we are back to Banter era? Well, it continues to depend on how Auxilio Marotta manages the situation, doesn't it, Mattia? It depends on, can they continue doing, I'm not going to say miracles, but they need to continue being smart, don't they? So it's going to be another summer of, once again, being smart. Who do we sell? That's not too important. It's going to be, how much do we sell Dumfries for, and how much do we pay for his replacement? Does someone come for Lautaro, big money offer, or Barella? How much do we sell them, and how much do we reinvest? So it becomes that cycle every year of like, okay, we're going to have to sell a big guy, a big player, but how do we reinvest? We're going to have to do, what Napoli have done this summer, like, selling Koulibaly plus all these, important players. But can we, that's the thing, do we have faith in Inter's scouting again? Like the names are always linked with, and mostly like the ones that I research and have confirmed that, Inter are interested are usually the right names, but did they actually like go for those names? Did they go for the right names to replace the guys? That's what we need to be seeing. Like, just because like in Serie A, money doesn't necessarily equate, success. We've seen it with Milan, we're seeing it with Napoli this year. Juventus are going to have to go a little bit towards that way as well now, and they show that money necessarily doesn't mean success, but you just have to continue being really smart on the mercato. Like you have to eliminate errors, the Correa errors, the Gosens errors. You have to eliminate those as much as you can. So Ozil and Marotta have to work overtime every summer. Sean, I'll change the mood. Do you think Lukaku will put in a good 60 minutes against Monza? Yeah, let's talk about it. So let's get into the match preview for tomorrow. We've been going for 20 minutes. Yeah, 100%. We need to. Gagliardini is going on a free transfer, so that is a big decision for next summer. The replacement in the squad for him. The Gagliardini replacement / Barella backup, or however you want to call it. So let's get into tomorrow. So Sky Sport Italy. So it's kind of actually surprising. They're saying that Lukaku Dzeko continues, because I would, in my opinion, and you guys let me know what you guys think. Like, should Lauti? I thought once Lauti is like, had a few training sessions back, pretty much fully fit. I think he is. I think we have a few guys in this team, don't we, that are certain starters, unless they have like injuries. That is Onana now, which, by the way, guys, how good is it that we don't have to argue about that anymore? Like, oh, is Inzaghi gonna rotate with Handanovic? Like, oh, when's he gonna start? Like, that's done now, done and dusted. At least we might see Handanovic in the Coppa Italia against Parma in a few days. But anyway, so it's Onana, Skriniar, I would say Bastoni as well. Brozovic usually, let's see when he comes back, but let's say Brozovic, Barella, obviously, Di Marco. Now, like, there's a few guys that we just know they are the starters, and I would put Lautaro in that category of like, he's our superstar, he's our most valuable player in terms of like monetarily, monetary wise. There was a report that came out the other day from CIES. Like, he's the most valuable player in Serie A at the moment. He's like our poster boy, everything. So I'm surprised that, he's not straight back into this team. But going back to Sean's question, or Sean's statement, I wouldn't be against it. As I said, I do like the Dzeko-Lukaku partnership. It's the partnership that Conte was looking for. It's a partnership that worked against Napoli. Lukaku stretching the defense in behind, Dzeko being the guy in between the lines, helping the midfield and building up play as well. And as I said, the first half from Lukaku, I really liked what I saw. Yes, he should have scored. Yes, he's still not 100% fit. Yes, he had the brick touch a few times that, one touch really went viral as well. I saw earlier. Obviously, the Sport Bible and those, Premier League based media had to pick up on it because that Lukaku generates clicks and memes. It is what it is. But yeah, I am surprised, to be honest. What do you guys think? Would you put Lauti straight back in, or would you continue with Dzeko, Lukaku? What do you guys think? Yeah, Benito, I agree. Lauti needs some goals to get his momentum back. He had that stinky ass World Cup, obviously, that he wants to recover from. I thought Lukaku and Dzeko could be a good game for Lauti to come into. He likes to stat pad against the small teams too, yeah. But we also need we also need Lukaku to stat pad. We got a lot of stat padders, don't we? Lukaku has always been a small team stat padder as well, so this could be a good game. But the problem is, Dzeko has to start after his performance against Napoli. There's no questions about Dzeko. The question is, does Lautaro start or Lukaku start? I think that's the question. Dzeko won man of the match. I saw on Twitter, Inter fans gave him man of the match. He scored the winning goal. Good performance. I think he's going to start for 100%. I've got a feeling this time Dzeko will be subbed out for Lautaro first. I think Inzaghi needs to be smart. That's the thing with Dzeko. We know, do not burn him out. Like, yes, he's playing well. Yes, he's carrying. He's probably been, our most important player this season in terms of goal scorers, even more than Lauti at times. But he needs to dose him properly, and hopefully now that we have those 4 strikers, he can do that. Like, don't burn him out. Don't overuse him. Don't make the mistake. Well, you could say mistake, but last season we also didn't have really many options as well. Correa got injured, and then Sanchez was also in and out sometimes. But yeah, he needs to be dosed a little bit more than he was last year. There's a good chance they will play with less fear and do better than Correa. Start wasting minutes on him. Oh, some guests. Wait, sorry. Yeah, you're going with the what we talked about earlier. That it's just wasted minutes playing Correa at the moment. But I know, Inzaghi's gonna. It is this guy. He is gonna back him. But yeah, I agree. Right now, it's just, there's no point. He's offering nothing. Yeah, Mattia's talking about the same point as me. Hopefully, it doesn't kill Dzeko. I would continue with this duo, then Lauti Correa against Palma. Yeah, 100%. Palma, I want to see a lot of rotation. I want to see Gorson starting. I want to see Aslani starting or Belanova. Like, I want to see some nice rotation against Palma for sure. And that might be the time for the Kolar partnership. That usually has provided to be good. But yeah, we need the Lula to return, one of the best partnerships in Europe. Yeah, that was a beautiful, beautiful partnership for sure. It's ironic that Lukaku and Lauti won this title, but Inzaghi always subs them with each other when they're. Yeah, but I mean, it's different times right now, isn't it? It's not the same Lukaku, and Lautaro just came back from his injury from the World Cup, so I wouldn't say that's going to be normal for Lautaro to be subbed on. As I said, I think Lautaro is going to be the starter, and I think the other guys are going to be the ones where we have debate who should be starting between who. Yeah, Lauti had some good passes when he came on. I agree. Why not go and start against Monza? Yeah, as I said, Deschamps, the Inzaghi has certain, like, there's guys that are the starters in this team, like, regardless of who our opponent is, whether it's the bottom team in the table or the first team. Di Marco is one of those guys. We've seen it. So that's why I think he will play against Monza, but it's just clearly he rates Di Marco more. Like we didn't used to ask that question when Perisic was there last season. He used to play every single game. So basically, Di Marco he just owns the left wing back spot. And until Gosens proves Inzaghi wrong or shows a higher level of performance than Di Marco, it's going to be continuing to be Di Marco. Save Dzeko for bigger games. He doesn't need a stat pad to perform. That is true. He's not a stat pad at Dzeko. He does step up in the bigger games as well. Yeah, no, of course it wasn't that bad, but the fact that he had to come out and talk about it, Chris, he himself admitted that he didn't have the World Cup, that he didn't like just one important, penalty isn't what Lautaro was imagining for himself. And he could have actually finished the final within normal time, or within extra time. He could have finished it. Of course, in the end, yeah. And of course, he's still leading the Scaloni era and goals and assists and all that good stuff. Monza's a good team. There's no time for subs there. Yeah, actually, let's quickly talk about Monza as well, because we're not, going to focus on them too much, but they still deserve a little shout out because newly promoted team, Galliani and Co. Berlusconi. You knew that we're going to spend money on these guys. So yeah, they've got actually a pretty decent team. I'm confident that they will stay up. These guys, they've got too much quality for not to stay up. Di Gregorio, our youth product, he's actually starting ahead of what's his name, Alessio Cragno, which was a big surprise. He was one of the few guys that we made money from this past summer, guys. I think we got like 4 million, 5 million from him. Yeah, and he continues to start over Cragno. Caldirola, also former Inter youth product. And of course, they have Sensi, but Sensi is out for a little while, and he was starting to ball out for them as well. Rovella's also out, which is an important player from them, on loan from Juve. This guy is also quite talented. Watch out for him, Ranocchia. Not our Ranocchia, of course. This is another Juventus youth product. Carlos Augusto, he's been in great form for these guys. He scored in the last match. He scored in a few goals this season. Brazilian wing back, energetic, gets into scoring positions. Definitely one to watch out for. Pessina, obviously, weird signing for them. Like they made him captain because he grew up, in Monza, and nice story and all, but weird signing because he's actually, I think they have like the option or obligation to buy on him is quite expensive, and I don't think he's worth that money. And their coach Palladino, if you guys Serie A connoisseurs will remember this name. He was an up and coming young talent. He was a youth as well, if I remember correctly. Went to Genoa, never really lived up to the hype. Very young coach. I think he might be the youngest in Serie A, alongside Bocchetti of Verona. But yeah, he plays the usual, he's a Juric school, Gasperini school of coach. 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1, however you want to call it. High pressing, man-for-man pressing, quite brave. So yeah, should be a decent match. Obviously, Caprari as well. We sold him in the Skriniar deal, so we never actually made use of him, but he was actually very useful. The fact that we managed to land Skriniar using him in that deal. Yeah. Who else? Oh yeah, Giulio Donati. If you guys remember him, he was an Inter youth product back in the day. He was in the Balotelli Santon era, I think, if I remember correctly. Petagna, oh God, I hate this guy. Don't even know who's a Serie A player. Absolute waste of space, but always dangerous because of his physicality. Pablo Murray, he's back on the bench. Remember, this guy got stabbed or shot or something randomly like a few months ago. The guy from Udinese and Arsenal. Well, good to see him back on the bench. But yeah, decent team, but we should be definitely beating these guys. Yeah. No, yeah. You don't need to my thoughts on Lautaro. I love Lautaro, but I know I've seen you talk about it in the Discord chat, Chris. I think he doesn't need this much defending. He knows himself. The fact that he had that press conference, he did say also that he had that ankle. That's one thing with Lautaro. Like, as much as I don't think he's an elite striker, but this guy just does not pull his foot back. Like we saw some Argentinians that Paredes, Di Maria, like in the build up to the World Cup, like, were you actually injured or you were just saving yourself? This guy, we know he did not save himself. If anything, he made his ankle injury worse going into the World Cup. He said he needed injections into his ankle, not painkiller injections coming into the World Cup. So he wasn't like fully fit. Like, that's one thing with Lautaro. You can never doubt the commitment of this guy. So every team needs a guy like Lautaro. Yeah, it was stabbed. Thank you for confirming, guys. Such a weird day that was when that Pablo Mari got stabbed. Like Acerbi said, Napoli won't matter if we don't win the rest of the games in January. Yeah, 100%. And I wanted to thank you for mentioning, because I saw Liam Mackey mention him earlier. Can we talk about Acerbi being such a surprise, absolute solid professional? Yeah, I tweeted about it earlier, like really, really disrespected when we signed this guy. And we talked about it, like, I made fun of him as well, but like, as I always say, if everyone can catch jokes, but you guys knew my thoughts on him was like instant upgrade on Ranocchia, which was not hard to do. And he's turning out that he might be even an upgrade on De Vrij. And this guy survived testicular cancer, guys. Like, today we're talking about on the day of Vialli that unfortunately he's lost his battle with pancreatic cancer. This guy's an actual warrior. And, in the Italian national teams, as much as we all rate Bastoni at the Euros, he was ahead of Bastoni at the Euros. He had a bad season last year, so I can see why there was doubts. But that Sarri system just doesn't suit him. That four at the back, high pressing Sarri system, even though he isn't so high pressing this season as we've seen. But yeah, it just didn't fit him. He fell out with the Lazio fans. Like, there was many reasons to be doubtful, which I understand. But Inzaghi, we needed a centre back. This guy Inzaghi was begging for a centre back. Yes, it could have been a younger profile. I would have preferred. I admit that I would have preferred a younger profile, someone a little bit, more athletic, a different profile to Acerbi. But I had faith in him, and I'm glad he's paid off my faith. And actually, yeah, even for me, he's done more than I ever expect to. So yeah, shouts out to Francesco Acerbi. Going back to the comments. Yeah, seen that one. Difficult match ahead tomorrow. Yeah, definitely not one to underestimate. To follow Mattia, the players have been saying some great things recently. Sean says, like, we're not out of the Scudetto and they believe in the Scudetto, love the tough mentality. Yeah. We saw Onana as well. Onana, in the post-match after Napoli, he said, we should be going for everything. Scudetto, Champions League, Cup. Like he said, the players we have here are too good. And again, this is a reminder. I'm glad that this Napoli match reminded us all and the rest of the league. Like, yes, as we said after the Napoli game, the board, the ownership, Marotta, Ausilio have made mistakes. Correa, Gosens, like, things could have been done better in the transfer windows. Dybala, Bremer, like those, mistakes that maybe we made. But on paper, the squad remains really, really strong for the Serie A level. Even in the Champions League, we've seen is still a good squad level. So we've been underachieving until now. There's no denying that. We should be challenging for the Scudetto, regardless of mistakes made in the transfer market and what we need on the transfer market. This squad is good enough to challenge on multiple fronts. To challenge on multiple fronts, I don't know. Again, last season, I think we saw once the Liverpool game came along and, we started struggling in the league as well. And when those 7 games without a win, maybe we're not, like, I think Inzaghi needs to pick and choose. Like, you can't go for everything this year. Like last year, we went for Coppa Italia, we went for Champions League. Like, he didn't sacrifice anywhere. Whereas this year, I think he might need to just hunker down and focus on a select competition, because I don't think we have the squad for being able to focus on multiple fronts. And yeah, Sean takes a big man to apologize. And the thing with Acerbi wasn't, he didn't, like, everyone has views on players, like everyone can get things wrong on like players, but the thing that just with Acerbi, it was like personal, just because of that smile against Milan. Like, people were calling him, were saying that he through that game, or this guy's like those kind of things, and he talked about it as well. Acerbi, he said he was like really offended by those things because people were like questioning his professionalism, which is like that's a little step too far when you like questioning someone like on a professional basis. But yeah, bro, like we know, like Hakimi, like there's a lot of guys that we saw Lukaku when he left as well, that probably are like still attached to Inter. but that means nothing. Like the fact, even if he wants to come back to Inter, like that doesn't help us. Like we financially, like the Chelsea and Lukaku thing was completely different because that guy literally gave us an alley-oop. Unless Hakimi does something like that, where PSG are forced into loaning him to us with an option or something, then it's true. But otherwise, it doesn't matter if Mbappe grew up a massive Inter fans and he wants to move to Inter. As long as we can't financially make it happen, there's no point. Yeah, 100%. He's a reliable player who is proving that he can live with a team like Inter. Like we were talking about with Correa, he's not made for a team like Inter to take that pressure. Acerbi is showing that he can stay at a team like Inter as well. Yeah, Deshaun, that he's it won't be in January. I will be very surprised if it happens in January, but I think in summer he will be the number one guy that Inter will be looking to get money from. Yeah, exactly. And there's another reason there. The salary for Hakimi as well. Yeah, I mean, we know this, Chris, like, especially with Conte, we were so close. If that team could stay together under Conte with Hakimi and Lukaku staying together and then adding on top of that with Eriksen, building on top of what was there, then we were close to the top teams in Europe. But with our constraints, unfortunately, it just becomes harder and harder to get closer to those teams in Europe. Acerbi's a signing of the summer with Miki Onana. Yeah, probably up there in terms of value for money and impact to the team. 100%. Lab Gorilla, think he's a Milan fan who's just coming in with some weird salty comment. While I agree with you that we should focus on Serie A, the thing I love most about Inzaghi. Yeah, but then that is the reason why we weren't able to secure it, Mattia. Like, when you go all out against Liverpool and that match, De Vrij got injured that match, didn't he? I think Brozovic got injured in that match. He going for the Coppa Italia on every level. It's good, but then it's also partly the reason why we went through that 7-game period where we couldn't do anything. But I do like it as well. Yeah, I do like that. That is also Inter mentality, you could say. Like the fact that he doesn't sacrifice anything. Every trophy matters to him is good to see as well, for sure. Yeah, exactly. In terms of the way that we bought Correa, between, obviously, we were supposed to buy Marcus Thuram, and we got Correa instead. But that shows you that the profile that Inter were looking for was someone with a bit pace, with like a guy that played most of his career as a winger. Both Correa and Thuram did that. And someone, even with Thuram now, like we're making Thuram out to be this like world-class guy that has been killing it. This is again, we've got the same doubts with Thuram as well. Can he make that step up? Can he score goals on a regular basis? Because it's fine doing it for Mönchengladbach in the Bundesliga, but again, can he take that step up again? So but yeah, he was supposed to be that guy for us. Yeah, thank you, Dropish, for dropping the wishes for Nicola, Mattia, and any other of our Balkan brothers who may be celebrating Christmas tomorrow. Yeah, 100% on that makes so much of a difference. I want to be too fussy. We missed out on Thuram. I don't know, man. I think he's an amazing opportunity, though. On a free transfer, Liam, is too much of a good opportunity. But unfortunately, once these Premier League teams come in, yeah, I see it more and more difficult getting that. He just, we need those types of characteristics in this team: that pace, that athleticism, that goal threat, and someone hungry and up and coming as well. And a free transfer, as I said, potentially. Anyway, let's go back to the match preview. Yeah, hoping to give you a nice Christmas tomorrow. Gazzetta have pretty much the same lineup as the Sky Sports, so they have Lukaku and Dzeko as well, surprisingly. Dumfries comes back, by the way. We didn't mention it, but Dumfries is he was the surprise exclusion in the, well, it wasn't so surprising when it happened, because Matty Doms is that guy defensively, and it made sense. But for me, he is one of those guys that, he's a given starter as well within this team. So I 100% expect Dumfries, and I think, Darmian showed his limitations going forward. And I guess Carlos Augusto, I want to see Dumfries. Like, if Carlos Augusto goes forward, I want Dumfries to be there to take advantage of the space in behind as well, with his physicality. But they have Acerbi. They have Acerbi, and Sky Sport has De Vrij. I think with Acerbi, the thing is, though, as much as as we've praised him now, but again, same with Dzeko, you don't want to use him too much. Even in the Napoli game, because I was watching it with the Italian commentary, De Vrij was warming up at one point because they were saying that Acerbi struggling with something. So, with his advancing age, he's not a guy that you can keep playing game in, game out. So I think De Vrij and Acerbi are going to continue rotating like they have been a lot. They've probably been the position that's been rotated the most, I would say, in this team. You just never know between De Vrij and Acerbi who's going to start any given game. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind De Vrij starting in this game. It's really 50-50 to me. Like, I'm never mad at either De Vrij or Acerbi starting, either of them. Even though obviously we know De Vrij has been declining, but he has, between him and Acerbi, I still can't really call it who I would prefer. Would you take not signing anyone but not signing what? Wait, can you rephrase that? Can you rephrase that, Basista? Sorry, I didn't get that one. Best Christmas gift tomorrow is an in to win. Yeah, that would be perfect. 100%. Yeah, 100%. 100%. He was born in Italy. He, his dad obviously was a big Parma legend. So yeah, I'm sure he knows all about Inter, and I think he knows that Inter are the team that can guarantee him playing time. Inter can give Thuram not the highest wages, but good wages. Like, 5 million net is very, very. I think it like he earns like 5 times more than he earns right now if he comes. I'm sure they can give him a nice signing on bonus as well. Not as much as Premier League team, but yeah, they can give him starting 11 pretty much guaranteed. Especially if we don't renew Lukaku's loan, that will be Thuram's spot. And then yeah, like, good. I can't say like a good or a great project, but a good, better than like I think a lot of mid-table Premier League teams like West Ham or like teams like that, like Champions League football, hopefully, going for titles. Like, there's plenty. I think plenty of a package that we can give to Ram. But of course, if he is looking at money, and if someone in the Premier League, in terms of if someone secures him in January, pays 10 million to Dortmund, then that's done anyway. That doesn't even matter. So yeah, De Vrij is back healthy now. He was, he's already on the bench for Napoli. As I said, he was warming up just in case Acerbi got injured at one point. So he is back healthy. Whether he's 100% fit, I don't know. So yeah, if he's not 100% fit, then probably just continue with Acerbi. Yeah, but even at Bayern, they can't guarantee him playing time as we can. So even there, you can guarantee him a trophy for sure. They can guarantee him the Bundesliga every season and latter stages of Champions League, but can they guarantee him the playing time? And he's looking to probably break into the France team on a regular basis, which is going to be very hard regardless. Roma Milan, I think is going to be just if it's John, if I think it's the John that I know from Twitter who's the Roma fan, I think it's just going to be a Milan win as usual. Like the Roma, just I don't even know how Inter lost to Roma, and it's a San Siro. Leao, the way he came back against Salernitana, he just looks a different level at the moment. I just don't see anything other than a Milan win, unfortunately. I would like Roma to get a result for sure, but personally don't see it. Hopefully Mourinho can do something, but yeah, I don't think they did anything last year against them, did they? Let's have a look what Milan Roma was like last year. Oh wait, if you go on who scored, yeah, if you go on who scored, they should be able to tell us. Preview head to head. Oh yeah, I mean that's pretty. It's a pretty poor record. 3-1 last time round. 2-1 to Milan, even at their home. 2-1 away once again to Milan. A draw. Then again, Milan win. Oh, there's Roma win 2019. But yeah, not expecting much from Roma at all. And I think Zaniolo is out. So, they're going to sit back. But the main counter-attacking threat in their team, Zaniolo, if he's out, then I really... Yeah, where's the counter-attacking threat coming from? And Mourinho's like... Last season, they were like, there was some moments where we're like, whoa, this Roma team plays nice football. Now Mourinho's like gone back to, parking the bus and counter-attacking. But there, Zaniolo says he's starting here for us. Who scored? He's starting on, let's have a look on Sky Sport Italy. Oh no, Zaniolo seems to be back. Okay, I'll take it back. Maybe, yeah. Then I give them, because at least they've got like a counter-attacking threat with someone with a bit of pace in behind. Yeah, okay. Maybe they can do something. I'll take it back. Maybe they can get a draw. But I always go in with very little expectation. That's my way not to get disappointed by a lot of the Serie A teams, because I always feel like there's a potential. I mean, every time you look at the Milan team, there's just nothing too impressive when you see it on paper. But then when they perform, they always really perform well. Or even if they don't perform well, they still get the result, which is, yeah, I don't know purely how he continues doing it. But yeah, going back to tomorrow, let's finish up with the match predictions, guys. Give me your match predictions. We're coming up to the hour mark. Let's finish up now. I think we've exhausted anything there's to talk about the match-wise. I don't see too much. If Lukaku starts, I'm going to predict once again something from Lukaku. This is the type of teams, as I said, we'll be stat padding against. A Lukaku goal, whether that's a penalty or whether that's like a little tap in, I expect something. And then perhaps a set piece goal from one of our centre backs. It'd be good to see Skriniar or Bastoni or De Vrij or Acerbi or someone like that scoring. So I'm feeling a 2-0 away win. But I think Onana's going to have to be more reactive than he was against the Napoli. Besisa says 3-0. Mattia says 2-0. 2-0 Matteo with Lukaku. 4-0 Christian Potato. Vamos says 2-0 penalty and Barella. Bet 1,000 from Morocco to beat France 6-1. I'll never bet again. What kind of bet is that, bro? I mean, Morocco were just sneaking wins, so predicting a 6-1 win is very... I hope that's not real. Into 5-0 Kuro Black Jesus. Maurizio Inzaghi says 4-0, 2-0 or 2-1 from Nicola. 2-4 for Inter, 3-1 King Darian. King Darian says no clean sheet. Lukaku Hakan, time for a goal from him. Lautaro. Yeah. If Lautaro comes off the bench, I could see a nice substitute goal, impact goal from him. I like that one. Sean. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with a 2-0, but I wouldn't be surprised if we concede a stupid goal just because we let our concentration drop. We do that often against the smaller teams. But I think we'll get the job done. I think it will be 3 points. I think we'll continue on our OW streak. Yeah, that would be fantastic for me. 3-0 would be perfect. Lukaku, Barella, Hakan for me to feast. Yeah, Hakan goal would be nice as well. But he's usually, now when he plays in the deeper position, it's probably less likely than usual. Probably, gets an assist from a corner or set piece. As I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we score off a set piece. That would be good. And the other games, there's not really yeah, Milan Roma is probably the biggest game of this round. Not a great Serie A round. Sassuolo need a win. Sassuolo really need a win because they're in the near the relegation zone. Hopefully Udinese can do something. They just died off recently, Udinese, after this good start. Hopefully they can at least get a draw against this jammy-ass Juve team. Maybe Empoli can get something against this Lazio. And yeah, as we said, Sampdoria, maybe they can do, hopefully they do something for Vialli. As a nine, that would be the perfect tribute. If they can do something, Stankovic and his boys, that will definitely open up the title race again completely. Mehdi says 2-0, Chris Renia kissing the badge after scoring. Yeah, I'd love that picture. I would love that picture. I would print that picture out. We need a Skriniar goal before he leaves. Oh, Mattia had to end the stream with a little bit of negativity, of course. That wouldn't be Mattia if it didn't. Unbiased USA Sport. Yeah, Lukaku played quite well, in my opinion. He split opinion, but in my opinion, he played well. Should have scored or should have done better with the one chance he had. Stretched their defense in behind really well against Napoli, but still doesn't look 100% fit. Hakan feels like a new signing this year. Yeah, and definitely in that new position, it definitely feels like we've signed, the vice Brozovic that we were calling for. It would have been so good if Inzaghi, give him that faith or that. I mean, he did against Fiorentina last year. He did play him in that position, but yeah, if he gave him that regular, faith in that position, maybe things could have worked out differently rather than playing Vecino, Gagliardini in those positions. Yeah, hope you're all right, Chris. Lukaku was actually solid. I really want him to get back in form. Yeah, we all do, bro. We all do. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. As you guys know, this YouTube strike or whatever, this YouTube demonetization hasn't affected me. I continue going strongly with my content, whether it is on YouTube or whether I go on Twitch. I will continue doing my usual thing, and for the next month or so, we'll be continuing on YouTube. Then let's see if they do monetize my channel once again. Then I'll have to make my decision if they don't. But yeah, our climb up the table hopefully continues. We reconvene tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening with Inter on 36 points, hopefully. Maybe even leapfrogging Juventus, who knows. If Udinese help us, I hope that our team form continues with the green. Yeah, thank you everyone that tuned in, guys. Appreciate you all. Once again, rest in peace to Gianluca Vialli. Thank you everyone that tuned in. Swiss Hater, Mattia, Unbiased Liverpool, Besisa, Varmo, Daniel, Mehdi, Ahmad, Sean, King Darian, Forza Inter, Nicola, Maurizio Inzaghi, Kura Black, Christian Potato, Chris, John, who else? Dropitch, Lab Gorilla, even though he was being a bit of a salty hater in here. Liam, Deshant, The Game Mans, everyone. Thank you very much. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. See you guys tomorrow for the post-match reaction. Ciao ragazzi. Forza Inter. Rest in peace.